As part of our Wes Craven tribute, we welcome Skeet Ulrich. Jamie Kennedy, who appeared in 2 Screams, got killed in the second one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Robert Englund is with us, who played Freddy Krueger, the infamous serial killer. Ulrich starred as one of 2 high school age killers in Scream, the 1996 slasher film written by Kevin Williamson, directed by Wes. What was it like to first audition for Wes?
Well, he's such a welcoming person, you know. He was so nice, and you could just feel the support from him from the time you walked into the room. I mean, and that's how he was from that moment until, you know, he parted. Just a great human being.
I remember I had pink hair because I had done Romeo and Juliet, which was my first movie. So I had a 3rd call back from Mexico City, and I had pink hair, and he's like, "What happened to your hair?" And I'm like, "I got another movie," and then I thought, I lost this part.
You're not going to get it.
No way. And then, sure enough, he saw past the hair.
Well, you know, it was a traditional Hollywood audition, but I was younger then, and I had more hair, and I remember sitting in the parking lot before I went into the office and saying, you know, I look too healthy for this part. I had long blonde hair then, and I was very tan, and I took a cigarette butt out of the ashtray in my car, and I moistened it with saliva, and I put circles under my eyes. And then I took the dipstick out from under the hood of the car, and I put a little bit of grease on my hands and slicked my hair back. And I have thin, fine hair, so I looked balder, and it also recessed my hairline. And that's how I went into the office, and I played staring games with Wes.
Did you get it right there?
I think that's what did it. I kept my mouth zipped shut.
Did you like his work before?
Yeah, actually, I was thinking about this. The first VHS my family ever rented was Nightmare on Elm Street, which is a little telling about my family.
I'd seen the Nightmare on the Elm Street series, and I was shooting a movie, one of the first films I made in Baltimore, and went with John C. Reilly, amongst others in our cast, to see the new Nightmare, which a riot broke out in the theater, so I'll never forget seeing that one.
What made Nightmare on Elm Street so successful?
Boy, I'd love to take credit.
You got to get a lot of credit.
I think Wes would love to take credit, but and he should. But you know, it's really the great hook that Wes knew was universal, which is the bad dream that somebody can enter into your dream and manipulate you, that they can take advantage of your own private secrets, your fears, your private knowledge, and exploit that and use it against you.
Freddy haunted your nightmares. That's something that was like, that's the one place you get a little, you know, peace. And if you can't get peace there, then...
What was it like to be directed by Wes Craven?
He's has such a psychological bent to him, and so he was always sort of probing deeper and looking for the motives behind things and asking more of you, and but at the same time it was done with such a gentleness, and he really respected his actors and admired them.
For me, Wes was he was a kind of a gentleman. He was a double threat, Larry. He was a writer and a director. So if we had trouble with a scene, he could fix the writing as well as restaging it. But he left me alone. I worked with
Really?
Yeah, I did a television series with Wes. I did 3 movies with Wes, and he left me alone, which I liked. I liked that respect.
Think about it, he makes these wild movies, right? You know, very scary. But off camera, he was a very relaxed person, well-read. We got
In other
it.
words, you're doing this grotesque scene and blood, and he'd be just...
Very calm, very peaceful, and he feels like he's very confident in his ability. So he feels that he gets it, he got it, he can move on. And I'll never forget this. I'm like, we're making a horror movie. Like, shouldn't it be crazier? And he's like, just because we're making a horror movie doesn't mean it has to be horrific.
Why do you think he liked horror so much?
I think he liked that sort of dark side.
Well, I think Wes's great gift was that he managed to keep the 14-year-old adolescent fanboy alive in him. Wes, you know, didn't see movies. He was forbidden to see films by his parents. when he was a child, with the exception of Disney films.
You know, my understanding was he was raised not being allowed to watch TV, not being allowed to see movies, and I think it really spoke to a part of him that was squashed early on, you know, that sort of fear in people, and you know, it's fun it's one of the biggest reactions you can get in a theater is in horror films.
I think Wes kept that young, wide-eyed boy alive inside him.
Did you think Scream would be the hit it was?
I remember reading it. I remember thinking, this script is really good. It was all dialogue, nothing, no fat. When we were making it, we thought, if we can have a movie that comes out in this new DVD format and, you know, makes its $15 million back at the box office, we're good. I thought people would like it. Did I think it was going to be the pop culture icon? No way.
Most of us were quite unknown at that time, and horror was dead at that time. And
Yeah, it was.
yeah, so I don't think we had any idea of what it would become. And I have 14-year-old twins, and like their friends are now big fans of the movie, so it spanned generations.
Did you know when you were shooting it that that movie would take off?
I don't think any of us did. I don't think Wes did. I suspect that even the people, that Bob Shea and the people at New Line Cinema didn't realize it either. We knew we'd done something unique, and we were proud of it. But you know, we ran out of money 2/3 of the way through. I think we were just grateful to get it finished and hoped that maybe it would find an audience.
You think he was satirizing his own films?
Oh, in Scream?
Yeah.
I think he was telling you that he was aware of his films, but I think he was evolving with the times. And as children of that era, we saw what was happening, and we were getting too smart not to realize that these things could happen. And it was like meta, if you will.
I mean, it had some genuine fears in it, and also, you know, other than Columbine and its reality, you know, it had this sort of documentary feel to it with youth and the serial killers in it. And that's how I approached it. I was, you know, in my mind, I was making a documentary about these teenage serial killers. And
You know, with all the things that have happened since, he was ahead of his time, wasn't he?
yeah, it's scary.
You think horror is appreciated as a genre?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, I think, you know, it may not be at the Academy, but I think, you know, audiences in particular really respond to it, and obviously this time of year it's bigger than ever. But yeah, I think it has a great following to it.
What has Wes Craven's impact on the genre been?
He's on the Mount Rushmore.
Is he number one?
I mean, he has to be up there, right? I mean, it's him. You think of him. He's just the name, Wes Craven. I mean, he's definitely on the Mount Rushmore. You've got John Carpenter, you know. Even Toby hasn't done as much lately, but the first Texas Chainsaw is just fantastic. So I would say he's up there. I mean, I kind of think of him as number one. You could throw Clive Barker, but I don't know.
His impact has been enormous, though.
Yeah, he's massive. I mean, I hate to have to say that it's horror because it's just a great movie. But, you know, the people put it in the genre, but it is more.
When they discuss the history of horror movies, where will Wes Craven's name be?
Well, you know, Larry, he reinvented the genre several times. He began with those gritty, nasty, hardcore films. You know, A Last House on the Left and The Hills Have Eyes. And then he did the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, which exploited surrealism and the imagination and the dreamscape, the landscape of the nightmare. And then he reinvented again with the Scream fantasies. And, you know, had Wes not passed, I'm sure he would have probably come up with some hooks for the new reinvented Scream on television. So he literally reinvented horror 3 times in my lifetime.
What's Wes Craven's legacy?
Well, I think in terms of the business, he redefined horror many times over. You know, People Under the Stairs, I think, it's a great film. It was really, you know, powerful to me early on, but I think he continued to redefine the genre. And, you know, personally, and I think for those who worked with him, he brought a grace to things that, you know, sometimes is lacking on film sets. And, you know, he's the leader of a crew of, you know, 150 people and sets the tone, and it's always a pleasure to show up at work for him.
And he enjoyed scaring us.
He loved scaring us.
How'd you find out Wes died?
I was in London with one of the actors from the film. I was over there doing a film festival, and it just yanked the rug out from under me, Larry. We thought he had problems with a broken leg. You know, you get older, you break a hip or a leg or a foot, and you got to really do your rehab. You really got to pay attention to that. And that's what we all thought. We all thought Wes was rehabbing a broken leg, and it had taken a while to heal. I had no idea that he was that ill. He kept it from everyone, I believe.
Hey guys, Larry here. Thanks for watching me. Be sure to check out some of my other favorite Larry King Now moments right here, and tune in to new episodes Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays on demand on Aura TV and Hulu.